This piece is the part that goes underneath the shower basin, and it was pretty wobbly when I first got the vehicle, so there's the carpeted part that sits out front. And so what we did was we added some supports to this. First thing we did was we added a piece of 3/4 plywood, give it a little more stability, and then you'll notice all the joints have been reinforced on the back side with just extra pieces. So added this one here, screwed it in, then we actually added this one. So now when it sits, it's nice and stable, so that'll give a nice shower experience. Okay, brief update here. One of the things that I want to work on as I continue down the road here is I've got the Eternabond strips, and then I've got the butyl tape, which you can see kind of protruding out from underneath the molding. But you'll notice that if any of you have these kinds of Phylon sheets where there's a kind of a crust and a trough, one of the things that happens when you screw it in is that the butyl tape has an uneven distribution compared to kind of the valleys created by the Phylon here. So you'll see that the butyl tape pushes out here quite a bit and here quite a bit, but here it doesn't create as good of a seal. Now in this particular circumstance, it's not as big of a deal because I've got the Eternabond strip underneath. But I'm going to start putting on the fender back here, and I'm going to try something where I can kind of compensate for these ridges that exist in this kind of Phylon sheeting. What I did was I took Eternabond strips and just filled them into the low gaps, and then ran it across here because it's a little lower in the low gaps, left that open in the low gaps, so that this would be one height, if you will, so that'll line up a little better. So now my butyl tape should line up a little more evenly when I go to attach. Okay, we're getting there. I'm on the inside here. A couple things I'm doing. This is the back wall of the RV. One of the things I decided to do was I talked about how I wanted to put reflectix around the outside border of the vehicle to help maintain a radiant barrier. I think this will help in the warm weather months as well. I don't know if you could see it on the inside of the window here, but normally this is 1.5 inches thick, and what we did was we put a second layer of 1.5 inch foam. This is the second layer. So there's 3 inches of foam board back here, and then we just use longer screws to keep the window connections there. I might go in and put some kind of trim down the line, but for now that'll do. And then I put up a layer of reflectix. I left the folds here so I could fold it closed theoretically, because my clothes hang here. It's more of the walk-in closet, if you will. So I might do that. But then over here in the shower, this is the foam that's on the back wall of the vehicle, and the inside wall of the shower is going to sit in a manner to where it will actually rest on this piece of 1/2 inch thick wood. And so I was thinking of a way to try to further insulate this part of the vehicle. So what I'm going to do, and you can actually see daylight if you look down in the corner, that's outside. So what I want to do is I want to patch that up, seal that up a little bit, and I'm going to put a piece of 1/2 inch foam board in here so that the wall of the shower will have something to kind of sit against and have a little bit more of a snug fit. This is FRP. I discovered from a user submission in an earlier video that it stands for fiberglass reinforced paneling. I'm using this in my shower, and it's rather malleable and seems to be a very good water product. But one of the things is that in here I just had these beams, and this stuff is rather flimsy, so I was worried about it kind of pushing inward. So what I did was I took some extra pieces of 1/2 inch foam and lined the entire shower. It's not so much for insulation purposes as it is to create more of a level surface so that when I put the FRP on there, it'll stay. Gonna have to get creative, I guess, with this side next, although it does seem to pose less issues because it does have 2 studs that run down through the middle. So we'll come up with a solution for that here. So here's an example of how I've been cutting the FRP. One of the comments that I received about this fiberglass reinforced panel is that you got to be careful you don't chip it or crack it. So what I've done is I've clamped this post to a sawhorse with a board underneath, and then I was making my incisions with the razor blade so that, and this is the side that I will not be using, this is the side I will be using, so I just kept basically scraping and scraping and scraping down the line, and then if I were to accidentally go too far, it would just maybe make a mark over on the side that I'm not using anyway. Eventually you're able to push it down, and then what happens is when you pull it back up, you can get a nice a nice even line here, and with just minimal amounts of work you got to do with maybe filing it off or something like that. So then if I bend it back up, okay, so that comes off, and then I can even just use my little pocket file here and just go after these little tiny ridges. So I'm going to do that next. I've got the FRP panels cut and fit into my shower area, so I still have got to attach them, and I got to get all the molding and all that stuff, but they're in, and the basin's in here as well, and it's much more supportive than it was before, so happy about that. These are the corner molding strips, and what I'm doing is I'm taking the butyl tape from here and I'm cutting it in half lengthwise, so I'm getting real skinny pieces, and then I'm just running it up the end, and then this corner molding strip sits in the corner. So there's just enough butyl tape to kind of create a little bit of a seal, help out a little bit. And then I fold it lengthways to make it look, you know, like a pea pod, it's basically like a little cylinder, a little circle. And then what I do is I take the molding strip, and you can see that I've got some here. I'm just going to add it right here, right where I left off. Put the fold side down like that. I've got one strip of butyl tape already in the molding, but then by doing this, what I can do, here I'll show you real quick, is then I press it down like this, just with my thumb, and I just keep pressing down. And what it does is, I don't know if you can see in here, yeah, but it leaves, you see how there's a little bit of gap in there, there's a little bit of room for butyl tape to kind of spread out and dissipate. And so it's just a little above the surface there. So as I screw this into the wall, it'll take that butyl tape and it'll kind of expand it into the remaining area. So by just putting one strip of butyl tape and then rolling a strip, just kind of automatically makes it a little more evenly distributed when I put the molding up on the wall. Okay, and just finished the job here. I got the shower reinstalled. Went with that FRP, the fiberglass reinforced paneling for the walls. This is the wall that had the foam behind it, as well as this one, so they got a nice easy sit. This one didn't, and it's not bad actually, but you know, if you push hard enough you can tell where the studs are. But was able to get the shower nozzle in on a stud, so that's fine. They got to be cleaned, and all of the fixtures obviously need to be cleaned because they've been in a garage, and I scraped them off and, you know, kind of doing work. Still got to silicone seal everything up, and I've got to get some kind of bordering for the ceiling, but I will do that next. Never a dull moment. Okay, shower area is all cleaned and siliconed, so one less thing. So I'm all finished here. And as I reflect back on the 6 weeks that it took me to do this project, I've learned a great deal. You'll need a good straight edge. Great way to cut fiberglass, razor blade. You'll need a good pair of work gloves. If you have some kind of multi-tool, Garmin, Leatherman, something like that, that'll come in handy. I've spent a lot of time on this vehicle. Measure twice and cut once. Quick release drill bits allow you to take bits off very quickly. Here are some of the MVPs of this rebuild. Silicone. Loctite, 3 times as strong construction adhesive. Lap sealant for roofs. Foam sealant. I've spent about $700. In some ways I maybe spent more than others would because I beefed it up a little bit. Eternabond, or Stick and Bond, my new best friend. 3M cold weather rated aluminum tape. Butyl tape. Reflectix. And in some ways maybe I spent less than others because there were some aesthetic decisions that I didn't feel were a priority at the time. I just needed it to be functional in some ways. Duct tape. Kills. What you see in terms of the problem is only the tip of the iceberg. Whatever your budget is going to be, it's going to be more than that. However long you think it's going to take, it's going to take more than that. That's okay. Be patient. 1.5 inch thick foam, scissors, Everybody likes scissors. They'll help. You're going to need those. I highly, highly encourage you to post videos of what you're doing. When I first started this project, I didn't even know what I didn't know. I had no idea. I didn't know the questions to ask. I didn't know what I was really up against. I didn't even know what I had to go and do my homework on. So I started looking on the internet and found all sorts of information from people, you know, the RV forum, YouTube videos, you name it, and then I started to gain insight with what I had to do to fix the vehicle. I didn't even know what questions to ask though until I was able to find user submissions all over the internet. So I don't think the internet should be a place where you have to be the definitive right answer of how to do something in order to be worthy enough to post a video. Post it. Let people know what you're doing so other people can see it, gain some insight. They're going to make their own decision about what they think is right or not, and that shouldn't concern you. I personally believe we should be contributing to the community to help each other out, and that's why I made these videos. Hopefully some of you watch it, and then you get a chance to get some information, or you start learning what questions you want to ask for yourself in your own repairs. So if you're doing a project like this, or any project, whatever, share. FRP, also known as fiberglass reinforced panel. Good stuff. Shop vac. This guy was baller. There's good, there's fast, and there's cheap. You're only going to get 2 out of 3. And which 2 you prefer to prioritize is going to make a difference on what you spend, how long it takes, how it looks when you're done. You're going to get advice from a lot of people, and I implore you to not only take advice and get advice from as many people as you can, go online, look for videos like these, but also eventually you've got to come up with your own composite decision that's going to work right for you. Trim coil. It's metal. Helps underneath for the flashing. Steel wool. Yeah, this one is medium grade. Go for something middle of the road. Too hard, you'll scratch the heck out of your Phylon fiberglass. Too soft, you'll be working all day. If you have to force it too hard, you're probably doing it wrong. I always tip my hat to gaff tape. You just never know. This stuff is great. The most important tool you're going to need to do this kind of project, your brain. Pencil and paper, write stuff down. Take notes, do your homework, measure twice, cut once. Be thorough. You don't want to have to do this twice. As long as you do all that, you'll be alright. This is what I did. It's not the definitive answer of how to do any of this stuff. I'm learning as I go. But good, fast, cheap. Pick 2 and go for it. Wear protection. I'm serious. So that's pretty much what I've got. This will be the last video on this one, and hopefully it'll be a while before I post some more repair videos. Hopefully this will just hold nicely. Thanks for watching, and if you have any comments, any things you've noticed that I've done that you liked, or maybe I could have done better, feel free to leave a comment, because I'm going to be in this vehicle for a while, so I'm eager to learn. But thanks for your support, and happy trails.